One, two, one, two, three.
Norman Davis, how we doing this morning?
Doing all right, Max Nathan. Ready to sneak in this week. Nothing
Yes, sir.
too big coming out. So, doing a little something.
Bit of a lull. I haven't seen Warfare yet. I know. Are you going to see Warfare, Norman, or are you just out on Warfare?
It doesn't look like my cup of tea. I'm not hearing the things I'd want us here to go see it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a big Civil War guy, so I think I'll just stay at home and I'll go see Sinners twice.
That's fair. I definitely will be seeing Sinners twice. I can already tell that's going to be a repeat viewing. I locked down tickets for the 70mm IMAX in Dallas this week.
Yeah, so there's one in San Antonio, but I guess they're just not using it.
The River Center, right? That's the one.
Yeah, got to see Oppenheimer there. Very cool.
Is that a really nice theater?
That's pretty nice.
Okay.
I don't go a ton.
Honestly, nice.
I guess when you live in San Antonio, there's no reason to go to a movie theater downtown if you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I went a couple times, a couple summers ago. I saw Oppenheimer there. I saw Mission Impossible there. So it's a pretty neat IMAX.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go see Warfare, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But today, we're gonna be talking about some tough pills to swallow. And what we mean by that is anything within the entertainment industry that might be a hard thing to come to terms with. And that could be movie related, industry related, anything like that. So we're going to be talking about our tough pills to swallow today. So, Norman, I kind of want to
Yes.
start us off on a positive note. And this is going to be a tough pill to swallow for people who are preying on the downfall of the entertainment industry and movies. And I'm going to say my first tough pill to swallow for those people is that movies will never go away. As long as people are walking the earth, people are going to be watching movies and making movies. The industry itself, I'm less certain about the future of that. But movies themselves, the art, it will never, ever go away as long as humans walk the earth. So
I
That's-
couldn't agree more.
that's what I wanted to say off the top because this might get dark later on. But yeah, do you want to go first with your tough
Yeah,
actual
I'll
tough pill to
start with
swallow?
the kind of fun one. I say that in the sense that there's not a ton of like statistical evidence. Obviously, this is something people talk about quite a bit now, but the age of the movie star is dead.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't think there is a single actor on this planet who could sell any movie. I don't think people go to the movies anymore to see a movie just because an actor or an actress is in it.
I don't. I think I might disagree with you there, honestly, because I think Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya are movie stars. I think that the reason why, largely, that Dune is so big is because Timothy Chalamet is on the front of all the posters, and to a lesser extent, Zendaya is on a lot of the posters. And I think that there are fewer movie stars, and it's harder to like mint movie stars these days. I think because one, the industry is just in complete disarray, and two, the stardom has sort of changed and shifted over the years in a way that doesn't really favor traditional movie stars, I don't think.
It's characters now. 'Cause I feel like those Dune movies would be, if you had great actors in those roles, I think they'd still be these big movies, you know? I think it's hard with the IP stuff to say, well, people want to go see it because this person's in it. You know?
Yeah, I think
I think it definitely helps when you have these great actors, but I don't know. And the Zendaya thing, she's not in that many movies.
But she's in a lot of big movies. She's in like she might be one of the highest grossing actresses just by being in Spider-Man and Dune
Yeah,
alone,
but
right?
those Spider-Man movies aren't making $1 billion because Zendaya's in them. You know,
I would beg to. I think towards the end
okay,
when
by that logic,
their
Zoe
romance,
Saldana's the biggest movie star ever.
and I mean, I don't think that's not fair. Like she was in those movies. I mean, Endgame.
She's in the biggest movies ever, but
Yeah,
I I don't know. I think like a movie star is someone who can draw people into kind of like any movie, unless it's like atrocious. But I think of like something like Marty Supreme does really, really well. I'd give it to Timmy.
I think Timmy is a movie star. I don't think
Yeah,
there's
I
any
think
doubt.
if anyone's there, it's him. But
You don't think Zendaya is a movie star though?
I mean, kind of. I don't think she's ever really like led anything that or at least
Challengers?
challengers. But that was excuse me, that like didn't make money.
Challengers. Let's check the box office on Challengers real quick. But I think that Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, like who are some other people that are people would show up to a movie for? There's got to be at least a couple more. Maybe RDJ. RDJ is a movie star. I think he transcends Iron Man.
I don't think so because I mean, not that this is an incredible movie or anything, but Doolittle made zero money.
Doolittle.
I think he helped get people to go see Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I don't know though because he was just Iron Man, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Challengers made almost $100 million, and that's that's not like a billion dollar movie or anything, but that's very successful for Challengers, I would think.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I think that there are some movie stars, but there are certainly not. We don't live in the age of, like Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep, and even the glitz and the glam of like and mythic quality to movie stardom doesn't really exist anymore, I don't think. And that kind of leads into my next tough pill to swallow, which is that social media has supplanted movies and television as a primary delivery of cultural knowledge and entertainment. And I think that's probably the sole reason why you don't really see as many movie stars anymore, and like not in the same capacity that you would, let's say just 2 decades ago. And we can see this in, the chicken jockey thing and the Minecraft movie and these meme movies, Minions: The Rise of Gru. They're all using social media as a way to sell a movie. Like they're basically pitching to younger audiences that this movie is going to give you the same thing that you get out of your cell phone every day, which is where people enjoy themselves the most, apparently. And that led to Minions: The Rise of Gru making over $900 million and Minecraft surely making over $1 billion this year at the box office. And I just think it's interesting that social media seems to be driving the box office rather than the actual movies themselves, it seems. And that's just kind of where we are right now. Like what do you think of that as a concept, like social media being more important than movies and television culturally right now? Do you agree, or am I tripping?
No, I think definitely. It's definitely not a good thing. But yeah, and I don't know if studios are doing it on purpose yet. I think they'll definitely jump on it when they see it happening. I think that's the reason no one from Warner Brothers has come out and said, "Hey, stop throwing water and chickens and popcorn and everything in the theaters."
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where it's almost beyond complicity because I mean, the director of the movie basically came out and said, like, yeah, nobody ever got hurt from popcorn hitting their head. It's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty lame, but I don't know. I mean, like the whole thing with the meme, it's like all these, you got to keep up with them, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
And I don't know, movie used to go see it because you wanted to see it because everyone at school saw it. Y'all could talk about it, but now it's like everyone at school saw that meme, so everyone at school has to go see the movie so they can go yell chicken jockey and then go to school and tell their friends how to yell chicken jockey.
Yeah. It's just kind of tough because, like memes themselves are their own like kinds of like inside jokes where like you kind of got to know what's going on to like understand any given meme. And like the Minecraft, like there's certain movies like the Minecraft movie um have almost become like an inside joke. Like you kind of have to know what you're getting into before going to the movie, which is very I just think that's like the antithesis of what a movie should be, which is where you can walk into any movie and get taken to anywhere, and you'll be able to learn, you'll be able to pick up the language of the movie as you go. But this is the kind of thing that feels a little more exclusive, and I don't know how to feel about that going forward. I don't think it's a good thing, but it is where we are going, and it does seem to bring people into the theater, which is not bad. So maybe something good can come of this. I don't know, but what do you think?
Yeah, it's curious, like how they would find out how much people that brings into the theater because, a Minions movie and a Minecraft movie making a ton of money isn't too surprising. You know what I'm saying?
They
it's
are
definitely is a big
franchises.
part of it.
They are franchises, but these movies are huge. Like, and the memes are part of it. Like, I think if you're, an out of touch studio executive or an in touch studio executive, you look at this and go, okay, people are clearly having a good time with the memes and going to the movies to partake or participate in the memes.
I will say, the second one of these studios tries to force a meme, no one's gonna go see it.
Is the Minecraft movie not forcing a meme?
I don't think that chicken jockey thing, that's what they were going for.
Yeah. It's possible, but I don't know. I understand what you're saying though. The second,
yeah, and
like,
the Minions
someone...
thing too. The Minions thing was like people just showing up in suits, which nothing about that movie really made sense of. It just kind of seemed like it was a joke. It was like, oh, let's wear a fancy suit to a Minion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, the second one of these studios, you could tell that they're trying to push something.
Yeah.
That never works. That's
Yes.
like never worked. How do you do, fellow kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it will come off like that. Second they make like the Kool-Aid movie where, the Kool-Aid man starts doing the Zay Zay shuffle or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work. But alas. What do you think what's your next tough pill to swallow, Norman?
I'm gonna do kind of a fun one here.
Okay.
Wouldn't be sneaky in the movies without talking about superhero stuff. So, Thunderbolts might be the best Marvel movie in a very long time, but does that mean anything anymore?
Go off.
So, there's this movie coming out in a couple weeks. So, it's also fresh. One of our last times we'll really get to talk about it. This movie that looked like the lamest thing ever, but it's looking like it's pretty good. Max, I know you're pretty excited for Thunderbolts. I feel like you've almost been on the train a little longer than me.
I'm the leader of the Thunderbolts Mafia, practically.
Yeah, you've been on this. So how do you feel about it? Just a couple weeks out, we've seen a lot more trailers. having fun with the whole, A24 Marvel movie, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that means thing. Saw some clips of Florence Pugh jumping off some very high buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is my most anticipated movie of the year. Um, I think that this movie is going to be fantastic. I am really excited to see a Marvel movie again that isn't a boring nightmare CGI fest. Um, and I think this will be that. I love the stars, and I've really grown to like the team they put together. It was very stupid at first, like when they advertised it, like we're gonna have like 5 Captain Americas be the Thunderbolts or whatever. It's like who cares? But it seems like they really put in the work to make this as good as it possibly could be, and I am really excited for it. I think it looks fantastic.
Which, yeah, I know I made this joke to you the other day, but I'm going to say it here. It's funny that these next two Marvel movies, this and Fantastic Four, look very good. And they're like the two movies they have taken their time with and really worked on the script, found singular vision. So hopefully they'll learn all the right lessons this year.
It's true.
Not the lessons from Deadpool and Wolverine. But
Yeah, they'll learn those lessons too.
yeah, and then there's the does that mean anything anymore? And what I'm saying is this movie's going to have a battle making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very uphill battle. These are a bunch of characters no one cares about, which Marvel used to be pretty good at that. Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy. Some of these are kind of familiar to people like us, but
Mm-hmm.
to the average person at home, they don't know who Ant-Man is. So I don't know. Like these movies might be cooked. This is a big year for Marvel. We always talk about, but when have we had a good movie that failed for them? Like something that was really good.
It's true. They haven't had. I mean, their flops have been, the Marvels was divisive. Multiverse of Madness was divisive. A movie that we like, by the way.
Awesome movie.
What else was divisive? Captain America, obviously the most recent entry.
You actually make a good point. Doctor Strange was divisive, but it made a little under $1 billion.
Really?
Which is, yeah, that movie made 900 something.
But that was in the era where they were counting on Billies from Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, I guess.
But, it's still a pretty successful movie, I would imagine. But I do think it matters, even though the, Marvel's just presence has been diminished in recent years. I still think these movies are really important. I think people love superheroes, and I think people love coming to the movies to see superheroes. That much is clear over the past, decade of stuff we've gotten. But I think that this movie, everybody's talking about how, it's not going to make any money or whatever. It's projected to open it to 70 million, which is fine. But probably not as much as they would have hoped at the start of this journey. But what I will say is I think that this movie is going to have legs if it is as good as we think it is. And it is going to be really, really big if it is as good as I think it can be.
Yeah.
I think it does matter that the Marvel movie is good, because if we keep living in this place where, oh, this is shit, this Marvel movie is shit, like Captain America, ugh, what a slog, nobody goes to see it anyway, and the people that do come out unhappy. That was true. Just to talk about how quickly things can change. That was true of the DCEU, up until the point of Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Woman comes out and everybody's like, "Oh, Wonder Woman is awesome," and it was a huge hit. So, and that movie was able to be an isolated hit, surrounded by Man of Steel and BVS, very divisive movies. And then you get to Aquaman, and then that also feels very different, and then that movie's huge. It just shows you how quickly things can change. I don't think most people are really worried about the cinematic universe-ness of it all. Most people think Marvel and DC is the same shit anyway.
No, yeah, I agree, but I don't know. You're a big Blue Beetle fan,
I am a big Blue Beetle fan.
and it seemed like generally people liked that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that movie didn't have great marketing, and I think Thunderbolts have pretty solid marketing.
Yeah, they threw Blue Beetle under the bus. That was like the real, like, they rolled out the red carpet for The Flash, and then they just dumped Shazam and Blue Beetle. Like, it was, Shazam's fine. That movie probably sucks.
At least y'all got a premiere, okay?
Yeah.
Us Aquaman 2 fans, we didn't even get a premiere, bro.
Hey, man, I'm an Aquaman. I was an Aquaman 2 fan as well. I liked that movie. Thought it was good. But, yeah. I think it does matter that the Marvel movie's good, and I think it will be, and I think we're going to have a good summer. So, my next tough pill to swallow is that I think big tech is going to outlast the legacy studio system. So, and what I mean by that, when I consider big tech is Apple, Amazon, and what's it called? Apple, Amazon. What's the third? Norman. What's the
Apple? Google?
No, Netflix. I fucking forgot about Netflix.
Oh.
Yeah, take the podcast away. But yeah, no, I think the tech companies
That's because we sneak into the movies, not into the streaming, bro.
Yes.
I don't watch crap on Netflix.
Yeah, we don't like big tech. But yeah, no. So tech companies obviously have the upper hand right now in terms of like their total valuation as companies. Like Apple and Amazon and Netflix are way bigger companies in terms of their total valuation than, Disney or Warner Brothers Discovery or, any of the big six major studios. The one thing that I will say that the legacy studio system has an advantage of on the big tech companies is IP. All the valuable IP, and not all the valuable IP, but like a lot of valuable IP still lies in the hands of the major studios. And I think that's going to be ultimately the thing that big tech wants to get involved in. Like, I just know, Amazon, Apple, and Netflix aren't really making, big time IP blockbuster movies yet. But I'm sure they want to.
James Bond.
They do. That's the one thing that they have. I mean, that's like their one thing. So, and we'll see how that goes. And that's going to be their first like entry point into that. Netflix has Narnia. I'm not saying that these companies don't have IP. I'm just saying they don't have a treasure trove of like Disney Pixar characters and the Marvel characters and the Star Wars characters and all that stuff to play with. But I think they're going to want to come for that. I think that,
I think, these companies are just going to slowly have to start selling off IP. And I think they're probably looking at everything they have. I don't think Disney. I think Disney is fine. They're not going to sell off the rights to The Lion King in our lifetime. I don't know, like Warner Brothers or Paramount, like the studios that just can't make money with their IP.
Well, I think like it not even necessarily just like selling the rights to certain intellectual property, but I think these companies, we've seen it over the years, like Warner Brothers and Discovery, they'll merge. One company eats the other. And what I'm getting at here is that since these tech companies are so big and they've sort of met the moment as far as like really providing consumers what they actually want, which is convenience, apparently, like watching movies at home, unfortunately. But the big tech companies have met the moment, and the legacy studio companies have struggled to meet the moment because they're not as well equipped to do so. They really, everybody kind of like rushed into the streaming game, and it's not really, Disney's main thing to do streaming, although it is a big part of their business now. They obviously have the parks and other, forms of revenue, but I just think like if you're one of these big tech companies, you're probably going to be looking into, trying to buy one of these legacy studios.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Paramount. Someone's gonna buy Paramount.
Well, that's going to be Skydance, I believe, and that deal is
Oh
ongoing.
yeah, I've been reading that. 'Cause originally, I was hearing like Paramount's gonna merge with Warner. Who knows? All these crazy big companies.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be Skydance, but there's a bunch of like political mumbo going on. So,
I will say that like a lot of this IP is just that these studios, that's all their leverage now. That gives them money is hey, we have Lord of the Rings or whatever. Like, they're not really making money.
well,
off
Amazon
of
has
it.
Lord of the Rings now.
Yeah, but
That's another wrinkle, but
that has been a pretty
bust.
big blunder. Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
the show,
I don't
yeah,
know.
it was a flop.
It seems like it was. I don't know. I can't imagine season 2 did that well. I know season 1 people hated it. I didn't watch it. I started it. It just wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
But everyone watched it. You know what I mean? Just to see. And I think season 2 probably did not see that kind of value. But I don't know. I mean, even you look at the movies that make $1 billion. Every once in a while, you get a Top Gun or a Barbie, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
but
think
that's the kind of thing that, Netflix and Apple and Amazon don't really have is like Top Gun. You know what I mean? Or Barbie. Um,
yeah.
but I'm sure they're looking to get into those spaces. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Another interesting kind of like observation as well that I was thinking about is that
Mhm.
like Disney has the parks. You know what I mean? They have
Yeah.
something outside of the theatrical exhibition and also the streaming game. Like they have a totally separate form of revenue that they can go to, and it's like a huge cash cow. Um, and that's what these big tech companies have as an advantage over the legacy studio system is like Apple's selling iPhones. Like the entertainment game is such a small piece of what they do. Amazon has Amazon. Amazon Prime is such a small piece of what they do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, Warner Brothers is one of the big studios that has like no parks revenue, and their whole thing was kind of it's shifted lately, but like Warner Brothers, had HBO and things like that. They're focused less on like, pumping out content and more focused on making like premium, really great movies and shows. And they've had to shift that as of late. Like you see a lot more like Max originals that they're pumping out that don't really do as well. I think there was like it was like something just like a bunch of like Max originals that get pumped out and nobody watches them lately. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's just kind of
I mean,
I
all
don't,
these streamers are kind of like that.
yeah, it's yeah, no, but that's why I think that like Netflix is like that's their thing. Like they're going to be able to succeed because they can do that well. Whereas like some of these like the name of the game used to be make good stuff and now it's Can you make the most stuff? I mean, like it's a little bit of both, obviously, but
Yeah. I will say, I don't think it'll be very good or work out for them, and I don't even know if it'll finish. But Warner Brothers is about to take one of the biggest gambles in TV history,
what are they doing?
the Harry Potter show,
Right.
which I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
think-
who that's for. That's going to cost a lot of money. A lot of people are going to immediately hate it.
Yeah. it- one of the things that, this whole big tech, merging with these legacy studio systems, that's kind of a dire subject to talk about, but I think there is a silver lining, and I think it's that the independent cinema is still going to be around, and I think it can thrive in this environment. Like A24 and Neon become like way more important in an environment where like the legacy studio systems have a little bit less power. Like over the years, there's been a consistent trend that the big six studios used to put out most of the movies that come out in theaters. And lately that, and other studios would, put out less movies, obviously. That trend, it's going the opposite way. Other studios like A24 and Neon have become, their output has risen tremendously over the last several years, and they're actually putting out, not A24 and Neon specifically, but other studios than the big six are putting out more movies than the big six in 2025. So,
Yeah, no. I'm trying to find,
other studios
Stat
and
here.
distributors.
but there's like, it's crazy how many movies Fox made in like 2018 before they got bought, and like 2024.
Well, yeah, no, 20th Century Fox is like gone. I think that's why, I mean, it says like 0 on that chart, but yeah, no, it's like 20th Century Studios now. I think all of those movies are attributed to Disney now. So,
Yeah, but even like that studio, itself just puts out the big IP stuff now, and like
Yeah.
a couple Searchlight movies.
they do like, they did Apes and Avatar and Predator, like the Prey movie.
Which we're getting 2 of those this year.
Yeah. So, we'll continue to see what they do with that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But, independent cinema will live on. So that's cool.
very cool.
The studio environment is a fucking mess. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. They seem to always kind of bounce back somehow,
Yeah.
but
In 20, 55, when, one of these companies will have won, and there is one mega company that rules us all, whether it's, probably Amazon or some shit.
definitely Apple.
You think it'll be Apple? Yeah, when Apple rules everything, it'll suck, and the studio system will be completely gutted. But we'll probably get a pretty kick-ass Marvel versus DC movie. So
Marvel versus DC
There's
versus
that.
Ghostbusters versus the Looney Tunes versus.
yeah,
So it's Doomsday. Doomsday sounding like that. So
yeah. I'd watch the Avengers fight the Looney Tunes.
yeah. Knives Out, Looney Tunes.
Knives Out Looney Tunes is good. So let's take a quick break here and come back. We're back. We have returned, and it's time to take some more tough pills. Norman, hit me.
I'll give you one. This was kind of the one I think that sparked the whole idea here. It's something that I allude to and joke about every once in a while, but I kind of don't want to just talk about it with you on here. And that is, they're going to hate me for this one. The Batman Part 2 might just not come out.
For the record, I have been saying Norman is a manic, anxious man for thinking this.
You know, I'm a little
overreacting. But
I think it's just an issue of getting Batman back on the big screen.
okay.
And I don't know, 'cause obviously I'm bringing this up because the biggest movie news of the week, at least I think for you and I's money, is that Robert Pattinson is being eyed for Dune 3. I don't know if they're going to call it Messiah, but Dune Messiah, playing Scythiel, who is a villain. But immediately, everyone went back to the Batman 2, a movie that is a sequel. Came out 3 years ago now, I believe.
Dune 2?
Oh, the Batman.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, it's where everyone jumped to. Because, yeah, 3 years and the script isn't finished. Which, I don't know. I'm a little more on, I think, if there's not like a script by the end of this year or by the time Superman comes out or something, it's not going to be looking good. No one totally knows why. From what I understand, there might be some personal issues involved, which none of my business. So that would be a very unfortunate situation. But yeah, I think for Warner Brothers, they're obviously in kind of a tough spot the past couple of years. They've had some hits. Obviously, Barbie, now Minecraft will help recoup what they lost with Mickey 17 and a couple others. But yeah, I think they're kind of growing a little impatient, you know?
Why do you think it's not coming out though? Like what's the deal here? Why is it really not coming out?
I think the idea of having two Batmen is not a good one.
I
in the
disagree.
first place. I think it's a cool idea, like for us, you know.
Yeah.
But
Two Batmans. It's better than
two
one.
Batmans. But let me tell you, man, if a Batman movie doesn't make money, all of this shit starts over again. All this
Yeah, but
DC
why would it,
nonsense.
that's never happened before, or not recently, but in the recent, like the Batman made over $700 million. It's a hit. Why would they not make the sequel?
I don't know. I it's not necessarily they won't make the sequel. I just think two Batmen, not a great move. I think they know that.
So you think it's one or the other? You think one is getting put on hold, and you think it's gonna be the Batman 2 because they're gonna make a James Gunn Batman movie?
Kinda, yeah. I don't think it's crazy for saying that two Batmen is a bad idea. Having both of that going on. Because I know, like, they'll always be compared. And then if they both come out and one makes more money than the other, why make both? One of them's just going to be littered with, like, controversy and, oh, it's not the Batman.
Not necessarily if both are legit good.
I guess, but they'll always be compared. Like, all Batmen are. But having two Batmen, I think, competing at the same time is just not a great idea, if you ask me.
Yeah, but they would only be competing in spirit. Like, they're not literally competing because, the only people that win are Warner Brothers because they'd make, $1 billion twice, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
But
I just don't see that happening.
I disagree with you on this one. I think that the Batman 2 is coming out, although I have been a little bit worried about it in recent days just because it's weird that it wasn't mentioned at all at CinemaCon, and it's weird that we haven't heard that much about it.
I think the big thing for me was Colin Farrell probably playing Sergeant Rock.
See, I don't think that matters because I think that they're...
If that movie... I mean, I know Colin Farrell is not going to... I mean, I imagine he'll have a bigger role in the Batman Part 2 and the Batman Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like if that movie's shooting later this year, It just feels weird. That felt really, really weird to me.
Why can't a guy play two DC characters
No,
in two separate
like
continuities,
he can.
though?
It just felt, I don't know. That felt super weird that it was offered. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little superstitious here.
I think
But
you're being anxious. I think you need to hold strong that the Batman 2 is coming out, because it is. It will.
we'll see. I think once Superman comes out, I think we'll have a much more clear picture on what's going to go on with the Batman.
Okay.
These are incredibly reactionary studios, but if Superman comes out and is making boatloads of money, and David Zaslav goes over to James Gunn and says, "All right, what are you working on next?" We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, now you have your Superman. Now give us your Batman.
Yeah. A James Gunn Batman would be cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, I think, or if DC Studios and the only other DC thing happening is like Batman, that just feels weird. I don't know.
I don't know. I
Guess
think
we'll
you're
see.
being anxious, but we'll see whether the Batman 2 comes out. I'm hoping it does. We're both hoping it does, but I think it is. Norman thinks it isn't. We will revisit this.
I don't know. I'm a little more. It probably is, but we'll see. I'm just saying, if that movie is not shooting by the end of this year, no way that movie's coming out.
Okay. We will see. I think it is, but
All right.
we're going to revisit it.
I would
My-
love. Last thing, I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. The Batman
Yeah.
one is awesome. It's one of my favorite Batman movie. I've watched that movie a lot of times. So I would
Yes.
love to be wrong.
Yes. My next tough pill to swallow is going to be that the supposed collapse of the entertainment industry is an economic problem and not an entertainment industry problem. And what I mean by this is that from 2005 to 2019, the amount of people going to see movies at the theater and the box office has been going in opposite directions. Meaning, movies are making more money while less people are going to see them. And obviously, COVID threw a wrench in all of the box office data. But from 2020 on, the trend has remained consistent. Less people are seeing movies at the theater, and movies are making more money. This is a very, very bad trend because it means that movies are becoming they're just becoming more exclusive. Less people can see them because it is so expensive to go see a movie now. And there's not really anything that the entertainment industry can do as a result because everybody needs to make their bread too. Like the theaters are really, really struggling right now. So when they charge you $8 for popcorn or whatever ridiculous amount they're charging for food and drink these days, that's because they're struggling. I mean, it's you know, I can't speak to the exact income these theaters are bringing in, but it has been a struggle over
It's
the
not a
last decade and a half. We know that much to be true. So what I propose, Norman, get your whiteboard out.
All
Okay.
right. It's out.
This is my next. This was one of my tough pills to swallow, but it kind of goes to this one, so I'm going to add it to this. But we need to come to terms with the fact that if movie tickets are going to cost this much and going to the theater is going to cost this much, then theaters have to be subscription based, similar to your
Movie
Netflix
Pass.
or yes, there was Movie Pass back in the day. Now I have AMC A-List, so I'll just give you the quick rundown on A-List. A-List is AMC's program where you can go for $20 a month. You can go see 3 movies a week, and you get rewards on snacks and things like that. And it's totally free to go see the movie after you pay the $20 a month. So this has allowed me to save thousands of dollars and go see a lot more movies. And for $20 a month, that's a pretty good price. Okay, I'm totally like an IMAX ticket at the movie theater costs $20 these days. Around that, if you live in a bigger city, it might cost more. So if you're paying $20 for a ticket anyway, there's no reason not to pay for A-List for $20 a month, because you'll get into the movie for the same price, and then you'll get, rewards and stuff, and you can go see many, many, many movies, much more than you would if you just bought a ticket for a single movie. So Norman, here's my revision on AMC A-List as a thing that all theaters could offer.
Before you revise, I'm going to shout out. I don't have it anymore because I don't live near any anymore. When I was living in San Antonio, Regal Unlimited, I think also $20 a month, unlimited movies.
Yeah.
Just total beast mode. And yeah, same thing. I look at like my list of movies I watch every year because, I logged on Letterboxd or whatever. And I saw so many movies when I had that pass because my friend Preston got the pass too. So anytime we had nothing to do, let's go see whatever. I saw so many movies that I would never pay.
You just go and go
for. Yeah, I would go 3 or 4 times a week. It was awesome, but I'm not a concessions guy, so I literally never spent $1. But
yeah,
let me hear about your revision here.
So if you got a notepad near you or your notes app up, you're gonna want to get that out because this is gonna be complicated. Okay. Right. Let me know when you get your notes out. All right.
I'm ready. I'm gonna type it.
Okay. All right. So let's do the little math corner here. So there's $20 for a movie ticket basically. If you're paying for a premium screen, which is what most people are going to see at the movies anyway, you're paying $20 for a movie ticket, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that's the baseline price for a movie ticket. And let's say, you want concessions, because I think most people want concessions. So you're paying $10, let's say, for a candy and a drink, which might be generous nowadays. Like it might be more. Let's
be real and call it 15.
For
candy and a drink.
You're gonna throw my math off here. So candy and a drink, candy and a drink. Non-AMC. Let's say it's $10. Okay, it doesn't really matter that much for the equation, but so let's estimate $10 for a candy and a drink. It's probably a little more than that, but let's say $10. So that's gonna be $30 per person. Right?
Sure. Very, very, very generous, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, so $30 per person, family of 4 is spending around $120 for one movie, basically. And that evens out because the kids' tickets cost a little less. So, a little bit less on the kids' tickets and a little bit more on the candy and a drink. So, let's say family of 4 is spending $120, right?
Yeah.
So, on my subscription model, we're going to charge a little bit more. It's going to be $35 a month because I'm sure they would want to offer that this would cost more for the theaters. So we're going $35 a month. Okay. You get for $35 a month, you get a free large popcorn and a large fountain drink every time you go. 1 large popcorn, 1 large fountain drink.
Got it.
Every time. You can bring children age 2 to 12 for free. So if you're paying the $35 a month, you can go and use your free movie, and then you can bring your kids for free. Okay? You can buy 1 extra ticket for an adult for 50% off. And you can buy additional concessions beyond the large fountain drink and popcorn that you get automatically for 20% off. And you can see two movies a week. Okay, I shortened it from A-List. A-List is 3 movies a week. This is 2 movies a week because I think most people are not necessarily even going to see 3 movies a week. And since you add the concessions to it, you might want to cut down on the free concessions. So let's compromise and say 2 movies a week, okay? So on the $35 subscription, you go with the family, right? It's $35 for the subscription. You bring your 2 kids for free. And you get a $10 movie ticket for mom or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you get, let's say you get $8 for candy and drink for kids because you get 20% off on that, right?
Yeah.
So That's going to be for one movie. If you knock out the $35 subscription, it's going to be $18 for a family of 4 to go see one movie, down from $120, right? So that knocks off a huge amount of money for that family. And you might be wondering at this point, you're like, there's no way the theaters would go for this because they'd be losing so much money. Here's where you're wrong, for people who were saying that. Let's think about a month like July, right? You have Superman, Fantastic Four, and Jurassic Park, right? That's a month where there's a lot of family entertainment, a lot of stuff for everybody to go see, right? And in that month, you might be thinking, if you didn't have like A-list or something like that, you might be thinking like, oh, we'll go see Superman and Jurassic and we'll skip Fantastic Four or something like that. You might be thinking like, if you want to not spend too much money, you're probably picking, one or two and not going to see all three. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah. Continue.
So Superman, so if you're $18 for a family of 4 for one movie, that's $18 3 times. So you're making $89 on this one family total in the month of July. Okay, that's a lot less than the $120 they would be spending without the subscription, right? However, let's think about a month like September, okay, where there's basically one battle after another, which is the PTA Leo movie, and that's it. And that's the kind of movie that people are choosing to skip out on these days, right? But if you have a subscription that allows you to go and get free concessions and things like that, you might say, hey, I'm going to go on date night to one battle after another. We'll check it out because we like Leo or whatever, right? So then for one battle after another, you go, mom and dad, basically, one battle after another, they pay $10 and they'd get concessions for the two of them. And that $10 is basically just for the extra ticket for mom, basically. So the theater would make $45 total in the month of September, right? If there was no subscription there, or if this imaginary family didn't have this subscription, they probably wouldn't go see one battle after another. So you made $45 in a month where you would have made $0 there. So I think it would even out. You're making less money in the summer months, but you're making more in months where people wouldn't go see anything if they didn't have a pass like this.
You lost me at $35 a month, man. I'm gonna be honest.
See, that's where, that's the thing. It is a little more expensive, but yeah, that might be the tough pill to swallow for people. I don't know how to fix this, to be honest, but that's my pitch.
How you fix this? I'll give you my pitch. About I think AMC does this too, but $5 Tuesdays.
Yeah.
$5 Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Start playing old movies again. Like a lot.
I like this idea. I think this is a great idea.
There's no reason why. I don't literally just have like The Matrix, have Indiana Jones, have Star Wars just playing at all times, and like those days, $5. I think that's it. I think that that's how you help during the week. Like you just make so much more money.
I think
I'd go see.
Yeah.
I
think that would help, and I think that they're playing like Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith is coming out like soon, like it's re-releasing in theaters like at the end of April.
Yeah, that stuff is always huge.
That movie should be in theaters all the time. You know how much like people would keep going to see Revenge of the Sith.
Dude,
I feel like year
the Raimi
round
movies.
Yeah, I mean,
did you go see those last year?
I saw the first one on 35 at the Alamo Drafthouse.
That is pretty sick. But yeah, I saw all 3 of those. If those were in theaters every month, I'd go see those each a couple times a year. Especially, give me $5 Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Discounted old movies. I can't imagine it costs that much to license those out.
Yeah. So, that's my pitch. We need a more robust subscription service, I think. And Norman's $5 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with old movies, I think works great as well. So, yeah. Do you want to? Sorry, there's a guy doing the lawn outside. So
I hear that,
yeah. You want to get on to your next tough pill, Norman?
yeah. Those are actually all my pills.
You got all your pills out?
Got all my pills out. Yep, all my pills in my tray.
God damn.
Do
Okay.
you have 1 or 2 more for us, Max?
I got one more pill.
All right.
Because
What's that last pill?
I did the 2 in that one. But
Right.
last pill is we are in the era of spectacle at the movie theater. Would you say this is true, Norman?
Totally.
Okay. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing because IP movies are as huge as they possibly can be right now. And conversely, filmmaker like big swing movies are also as huge as they can possibly be and are starting to feel more common. And I don't think this is good for the industry. I think Killers of the Flower Moon is fucking incredible. I'm just gonna.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and it's not good for the industry. Like, it's good for us. So it's kind of like this.
Yes.
I
don't know. I don't know that it's good for us though.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
I think, yeah.
I'm just curious. 'Cause I feel like, too, a lot of these directors could make these giant movies at maybe, like, the same quality for cheaper. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like I think, you think about a movie like, like I said, like Killers of the Flower Moon, like that's a really big movie that
Yeah.
the studios passed on it. Like he went to Apple and made that movie. And Martin Scorsese's been making movies. He made The Irishman with Netflix. He's been making movies with streamers for a little bit now. And that's kind of been the lay of the land recently, is like streamers have been kind of the ones that are openly willing to throw a lot of money at big filmmakers to let them do whatever they want to do. But it's not exclusive to the streamers either. There's a bunch of big studio, big swings that have happened as well recently. And the reason I say that this is good for no one is because, or potentially a bad thing,
Yeah.
is it's just, we, and on Sneaking into the Movies, we want to be champions of people's artistic visions. We, love watching a unique vision in the movie theater and a singular, amazing, fully realized film. That is what we are all about here.
And we do agree that these directors should have unlimited budgets. In the sense of, like, a lot of bad movies get made for $300 million.
I think that there needs to be a little more guardrails on some of this stuff, because I think we're reaching some of. I mean, we just watched The Studio this week, and Ron Howard wants his hour-long sequence where Anthony Mackie walks around a motel with his son staring awkwardly into puddles and things like that, because it honors his dead cousin that nobody knows. All right.
Did you watch this week's?
I didn't watch this week's yet.
The Olivia. Okay.
But I will say, I feel like it's not uncommon to have that kind of Ron Howard moment in some of these movies, in these big swing movies lately, where you're like, who is this for other than the director themselves? Joker 2 is the big thing that jumps to mind here. This is a big IP movie that is also simultaneously a big swing director movie, but and it's the kind of thing that I'm really talking about here, where it feels like we've gone totally over the rails in terms of, like, you either have Minecraft, which is this giant fucking mess. I'll just say the movies that come to mind as far as big studio, big swing movies, as far as like IP goes. I'm thinking of Minecraft, I'm thinking of Jurassic World Dominion, and I'm thinking of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. All movies that the big
Swings?
studios put out. I'm talking about big fat. Yes. You don't think Quantumania was a swing?
No.
They swung and missed. You don't think that was a big swing making like Ant-Man
I guess. I don't think Minecraft was a swing.
I don't think what I'm saying is like it's just a big bloated mess of a movie.
Yeah.
Like they're not swinging in terms of like what they are attempting to say. It's just
Oh,
a big
okay.
swing in terms of the bloat on the movie. Just a big fat mess. All right. And I think like Minecraft, Jurassic World Dominion, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania were the three movies that came to mind. Three different studios: Warner Brothers, Disney, and Universal. As far as like big swing director movies go in the past few years, the movies that came to mind are My Beloved Babylon, Mickey 17, and Joker 2. And
We have two coming out this year, or one of them got delayed next year, but One Battle After Another and The Bride, I feel like are the two big ones.
yeah. And I think that
Sinners? No, I don't know.
I think you could. I mean, we haven't seen that movie yet, but I think that's another example of. And I'm not saying that this thing goes wrong all the time. Like I said, I think Killers
Yeah.
of the Flower Moon is incredible. I think Babylon is incredible.
I thought Mickey 17 was really good.
I thought Mickey 17 was all right, but it's kind of what I'm talking about here, where I think that there needs to be like we're getting to a point where maybe the filmmakers have too much power in this equation, where
I don't know if I'd say the filmmakers have too much power.
because yeah, I just think there needs to be, I don't know, just some other voices in the room, I guess, because there's not a lot of entertainment for people who just want to go see, like whatever happened to like rom-coms and things like that. And like, I'm not saying,
They're
I'm not
coming
saying that
back.
these big directors, you forget about that. But I just think like we're seeing a lot more of these bloated, big fat mess movies and not as much of like, obviously like the $50 million base hit,
I mean, we just got one of those and it flopped.
What do you mean?
Black Bag.
That's true. That is true.
Which like that felt like a swing. Not a swing, but that felt like a home run in the sense of like a $50 million movie that just slowly people would go see, but they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's like PTA comes knocking at your door and it's like, hey, I want to make this really big movie.
You do it. I mean,
I also a lot of these movies too, like we know a lot about Joker too. That's because it's just an IP movie and that just comes with it. And like when something like that flops hard, it's a question of it's always pointing fingers. But I don't know. We don't know who is in the room for Mickey 17 or Babylon. Like we hear what we hear, but I don't know. It is a tough one though. Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's tough because we want a lot of, big, unique, singular like I think it's awesome. Like I think Babylon is awesome and I think Killers of the Flower Moon is awesome. But I can't help but, there's just a lot of stuff on here that's just blech, like The Electric State, Mank, we have
Even like The Killer would cost $200 million to make. I like
Yeah.
that movie, but I don't know why it cost $200
I
million
liked
to make.
I liked The Killer as well, but that is another part of this like lineage of recent movies that are kind of, just kind of bloated and messy. But, there was also Noah Baumbach's White Noise, which I didn't see, but I, didn't hear
movie's so
great
good.
things about it. I know you love that movie, but
Yeah, I did love that movie.
yeah, I think that's part of this discussion here. I think you could even count like F1 coming out, the Apple movie, just like a very big, you know. That's a blockbuster though. That's a different kind of proposition,
that's
but
like, that's Top Gun.
yeah. So those are our tough pills, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We're very, very, very excited for Sinners. We'll be back here Monday to tell y'all what we thought about it.
We will be back to talk about it. Bye-bye.